Good evening. Welcome to the first of the League of Women Voters of Curry County's Special Districts Candidate Forum. This forum, one of 3 scheduled this week, is for positions on the Curry Health District Board of Directors. These forums will be recorded and be available shortly thereafter on lwvcurry.org and other social media. I am Georgia Now.
Georgia, you have become muted.
Okay, everyone has become muted. Okay, that's fine. So I am Georgia Nowlin, tonight's moderator. I'd like to introduce our voter service co-chairs, Charlie Alexander and Mary Jane LaBelle. Mary Jane is also our league president. She will be co-hosting this Zoom along with Dennis Triglia, league and voter service committee member. Dennis will also be tracking tonight's questions and answers. Charlie is our timer. Candidates tonight are running for Curry Health District Board Director positions numbers 2, 3, and 4. Voters in North and Central Curry County will decide on these positions. All candidates running for contested positions have been invited to this forum. Let me begin with the League of Women Voters mission statement. The League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan political organization, encourages informed and active participation in government, works for an increased understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The League does not support or oppose candidates running for elected office. Any voting person can be a member of the League of Women Voters. We have both men and women members and invite you to join. Here are some ground rules for tonight's forum. Number 1, unless you are speaking, please stay on mute. Number 2, candidates will be asked to speak in rotating order and initial determined by verbal number drawing. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes for their opening statement. Once that portion is completed, we will go to the question and answer section of the forum. Questions have been collected from the public and league members prior to the forum. You will have 1.5 minutes to respond. Our timer, Charlie, will cue Mary Jane to put up the 30-second sign on the screen when you have 30 seconds left. When your time is up, a stop card will come on the screen. Can you all see this? Okay, thank you. I will now introduce the candidates. As previously mentioned, all contested candidates were invited to this forum. Richard Burton, candidate for Curry Health District position number 2, has declined to attend, as has Yvonne Paletti, candidate for position number 3. So I'm going to introduce the candidates for Curry County Health District position number 2, John Connor and Daryl Hawthorne. And Daryl Hawthorne, I'm going to go ahead and have you speak for 3 minutes. So Daryl.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for putting this together and giving us an opportunity to get to know each other, first of all, and also get to know, for people to get to know us and kind of why we want to be part of the board. So thank you. So for me, I moved here January of 2019 with my wife and 3 children. We moved from Arizona, where I had been practicing as a physician assistant there for the previous 5.5 years. So when we moved here, like I said, there's 3 of us. My son graduated from Gold Beach High School last year. I have a freshman and I have a 6th grader. My education is, I have a bachelor's degree from UC Davis in California. I studied psychology and I did a Chinese minor because at that time I was going to do international business. And I found out that I didn't really want to close big business deals at that time. I really just kind of wanted to help the community locally. And so we started looking at other things. I found physician assistant program and attended AT Still physician assistant program and received a master's degree in physician assistant studies in Mesa, Arizona. Worked for a small clinic in Casa Grande for 5 years. It was bought out by a group out of New York. They sort of changed the focus from patients to purely money. It wasn't a good fit. I wanted to practice rural medicine, and so we moved here to Gold Beach. When we had been going to UC Davis, we came up here on vacation for a weekend and fell in love with it back then and always wanted to find our way back. So here we are. So I just want to start by saying that the reason I want to run for the board is because honestly, it's a great privilege to be able to be with the members of the community when they're going through their most vulnerable moments, when they're sick, when they're ill, when they're struggling with addiction. And I've been able to see wonderful people who really need the most out of healthcare. And it pains me when they come and see me and they say things like, well, we understand there's not very good healthcare in Curry County, or there's not very many services available in Curry County. And I wanted to be able to take what is already being done, and it is being done well, and improve that and work with the community, because Curry County and Curry Health Network does a great job with what they do. And their goal is to provide the best care that they can, both physically and emotionally, to the residents and the taxpayers of the area. And I figure with my medical expertise, I'll be able to have a good addition to the board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, candidate for position number 2 also is John Connor. So John, you have 3 minutes.
Oh, my wife, Julie Phillips, and I bought property north of Gold Beach in 2010. We've been full-time residents since 2015 and are active in local affairs. One thing that attracted us was the support for a local hospital, as shown by the passage of the bond measure for a new one. And these are very frugal voters here. I want to see this hospital reach the standard of service our community deserves. Early on, we doctored with other providers here, but since 2018, we have chosen our doctors and had all our medical care possible at the Curry Health Network. I've got concerns about the overall condition of the network. I want to contribute my experience and knowledge to help improve it. I've worked with MDs as colleagues, not as a patient, and with biomedical technical staff as an employer. I've worked in hospital environments, observing both good and poor management. I will tell you briefly some of my experiences that might make me a good fit for the board. I've had an interesting time for a Missouri farmer's son. A degree in electrical engineering from the University of Missouri, 7 miles from the farm, a PhD in biomedical engineering from Northwestern University, and 2 years of postdoctoral studies and research at the U Washington Medical School that completed my redirection from engineering to medical science. I got a real job, finally, at U of Illinois in the physiology department. My duties involved teaching senior pre-medical students and graduate professionals. My department helped set up a branch medical school on our campus. After 12 years and getting full tenure, I left to become a staff member at the Bell Laboratories in Murray Hill, New Jersey. It's the birthplace of the transistor, lasers, Telstar, and on and on. While there, I gained collaborators from major medical schools in the Northeast, Yale, Columbia, and so forth. I worked with MDs, PhDs, and medical students. Bell Labs was slowly destroyed after the feds busted up the old AT&T. I left long before they shut the lights off, though, and took a department head job at the Roche Institute of Molecular Biology. I served on its board of directors. Duties included management of a $25 million annual budget, as well as hiring and evaluating biomedical scientists and staff. The institute disappeared in the drug company panic of the mid-90s. Julie and I got out of Dodge with our 2 little kids and went to Albuquerque. We were there 20 years. I signed on at the New Mexico Medical School as a research professor. I got or helped in getting over $15 million in grants from the National Institute of Health, helped found a small institute for brain research, and worked with graduate students and MDs. In summary, I've got a proven ability to hire excellent professional and technical people in the biomed field and to handle money. My professional life depended on it, and I lasted a long time. I have no conflicts of interest with matters that may come before the board. I'm grateful for your vote and support. Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, and we have candidates Joel Hensley and Sarah Dickerson running for position number 3. And Joel, you get to go first.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the league for offering us this opportunity for all of us to discuss, and like Mr. Hawthorne said there, to get to know everybody. I am Joel Hensley. I'm a resident of Gold Beach. At the age of 19, way back in 1995, I moved to Port Orford with my wife, Katie, and I began working at a store there called Buck Century Market, which is now Ray's. While in Port Orford, I joined the Port Orford Community Ambulance Service, which was a fully volunteer ambulance service that had existed for quite a few years after I left until CalOR took over. I trained and obtained the titles of driver and first responder. I actually served with Port Orford Ambulance for about 4 years. But during this time period, honestly, my proudest moments were my son, Brandon and Dakota were born. In 1998, I was hired as a corrections deputy at the Curry County Sheriff's Office. I continued to serve with Port Orford Ambulance while I was working as a corrections deputy. In 2002, I was transferred to the patrol division of the Sheriff's Office. And then 2004, they promoted me to the detectives division, where I handled mostly sex abuse, violent crimes, and narcotics. I served in that capacity for about 3 years until budget cuts, and I was put back onto the patrol division. Whenever I went back to patrol, I continued working there until 2014, when I was then promoted to the rank of sergeant and then became jail commander. In 2019, I was promoted to lieutenant, still same title as jail commander. It's just a different rank structure within our sheriff's office. As jail commander, I'm responsible for the budget, the deputies under my command, and any of the adults in custody. Adults in custody is the term we have to use now whenever someone is held at the jail. It may sound simple, however, balancing budget, safety and security, statutes, rules, the adults in custody's needs, medical, mental health, and just emotional needs, and the rapidly changing laws do make that job challenging. The current jail budget operates on $1.9 million. Most of that's in personnel costs, but everything else is in materials and services. Currently, through the Department of Public Safety and Standards, that's what the Academy is here in Oregon. I've obtained and maintained the following certifications: basic, intermediate, and advanced, and supervisory certificates in both corrections and patrol. And two of these certificates, I obtained a minimum of amount of training each year, which includes mental health, ethics, harassments, use of force, and leadership. I see my time is coming up, so I'm going to jump to the end. I decided to run for this position because I believe I could make a positive impact that would benefit the health district and all of Curry County. I would apply lessons learned from raising my family here through all my current positions as jail commander to bring up, oh, my time is up. So thank you very much for your time and support. I'm sorry, I went a little longer than I thought.
Thank you, Joel. Sarah Dickerson.
Hello, hi. So my name is Sarah Dickerson. I grew up in Curry County and I currently live off-grid in the mountains outside of Gold Beach. I enjoy riding my horse, dirt bike riding, and gardening. I built my cabin in the woods with my own 2 hands, starting with 2 credit cards with $5,000 limits and a tenacity to achieve whatever I set my mind to. I am running for Curry Health Network's Board of Directors as I understand both the strengths and the weaknesses of the organization. I am committed to not only making it better, but making it great. As a healthcare provider and a former employee of Curry Health Network, I bring in valuable insight on the inner workings of the organization, the hurdles its employees face, and the challenges that outside providers face in utilizing Curry Health Network services. Curry Health Network has some phenomenal frontline workers and providers who make up the very fabric of the organization. They are hindered by lack of standardized processes, an archaic and tedious electronic health record system, and inexperienced and retaliatory management team. Outside providers and patients who utilize the outside providers are poorly served by Curry Health Network's processes. Orders for labs and imaging are often lost. Patients often have to hand carry their orders in for them to be done. When lab work and imaging is completed, the results are often not transmitted to the outside providers. Results not received endanger patients' health and lives. Results that are not received are results that are not addressed. I have brought these concerns to management, and the response has been, we know, and we cannot really address these issues until we change our electronic health record system. This is simply not true, as the record system is only one piece of the process, and for me and my patients, it is unacceptable. With my 11 years working in healthcare and my local ties, I understand the unique challenges that residents in Curry County face, from transportation, distance to specialty services, and provider turnover. I graduated summa cum laude from OHSU with a Bachelor's of Science, and then with my master's degree from Frontier University. I worked for many different healthcare systems and for Curry Health Network for almost 6 years. First as an RN in the emergency department, then as nursing management, and then as a nurse practitioner in the primary care clinic. In September of 2020, in the midst of this pandemic, I started South Coast Health Center and have built a thriving clinic that has quick, easy access to health services and excellent patient satisfaction. Let me use the experience that I have gained as an employee of Curry Health Network, as an outside provider, and as a business owner to make Curry Health Network the best it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So now we have the candidates for Curry Health District position number 4, Martin Van Otterloo, Bill Devens, and Kevin Swift. And the first to speak will be Bill Devens. Bill, you are, oh,
Am I on? Okay, great. Hi there. I'm Bill Devens, and I'm running for the Curry Board of Directors because I believe we can have great health care in Curry County if we make the appropriate changes. In the run-up to this election, I interviewed lots of former and current Curry Health employees. And I got to tell you, it was disturbing and sometimes sad. It's not a great place to work. Business processes are broken and unmanaged. And to be kind, management decisions questionable. I've also talked to outside providers. Those are healthcare professionals who don't work for Curry Health. You know where they send most of their business? They send it down south to Crescent City, to Sutter Coast Hospital. Why is that? Sutter Coast Hospital is easy to do business with. Like Sarah mentioned earlier, they don't lose orders like we do. Curry Health is hard to do business with. Let that sink in for a second. How much money have we lost and how many patients have been inconvenienced by this? You know, we can talk about Curry Health management issues for a long time, but I think it's time to move on to something much more important and much more interesting. Me. I'm a fishing guide up here in Gold Beach, Oregon. I'm enjoying my retirement job here since 2009. I love the area, I love the people, and I recently joined the board of directors of Wild Rivers Land Trust. But before that, I did a few other things. Start at the beginning. I was a smart, poor kid in rural Pennsylvania who spent all his time hunting and fishing. Realized at some point my only way out of poverty was education. I earned a PhD in chemistry and I moved to Silicon Valley. I founded 2 venture-funded startups. I've managed in companies large and small. I sat on boards of directors, and I've consulted with venture capitalists on business opportunities. Late in my career, I spent a lot of time transforming organizations through business process reengineering, management changes, really getting a focus on the customer and away from the hierarchy, which just seems to be the way Curry Health is run today. Dysfunctional organizations can be transformed. I've done it. It takes a focus on process management and a management team that focuses on their customers and not on themselves. I know what success looks like. I've helped transform businesses, and I'm eager to bring that ability and drive to the Curry Health Board of Directors. Thank you for listening.
thank you, Bill. All right, Martin Van Otterloo, you're next. 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Marty Van Otterloo. I've been associated with small rural hospitals most of my life. I was born in a small town rural hospital. My first job on Pacific Coast, it was serviced by a small rural hospital. And I retired to Pistol River, once again serviced by a rural hospital network. I was appointed to the Curry Health Board in July 2020 because of my financial and planning skills and my can-do attitude. I had worked for over 30 years as an analyst and a banker, providing funds for expansion, new plants, assessing strategic initiatives, and assisting struggling companies. I am a graduate of the Harvard Business School. Those schools are of use to the Curry Health Network. I have a volunteer history. I've been active for the last 6 years in the Pistol River Fire Department. I'm a COVID vaccination clinic volunteer. I volunteer for the Oregon Bee Atlas Project. I participated in a local beekeeping club, and I've refereed many local high school and volleyball games. I believe a Curry County member has basically two members. One, the primary mandate being quality health alternatives to be realized. And the second mandate is providing financial oversight. I interpret that to mean that the Curry Health has to have the financial strength to support its present and any new health services and strategically plan for the future. During my tenure on the board, our financial position has strengthened measurably. We no longer have an operating cash of less than 1 month on hand. Curry Health now has the resource to be a stable employer of choice, strategically add new service lines. We've already done podiatry and we're going to put on orthopedics, and we replace aging equipment. Curry Health is implementing a new strategic plan, has strengthened its financial reporting, and has weathered a rough COVID year. I'm proud to be associated with the board and the staff of Curry Health. I want to continue to contribute to Curry County. I have the time. I currently spend about 40 to 80 hours a month in the board position. I have no conflicts of interest, no relatives or significant others that work for Curry Health Network. I am not employed by a competing health provider. Curry County residents deserve board diversity and an independent voice. In summary, vote for Marty.
Thank you, Martin. All right, Kevin Swift, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Hey, I thank everybody for putting this together. It's an honor to be in this crowd of people. I got to admit, you guys were all a little impressive and intimidating. I think I just want to be involved in the community and bring a sense of common sense. I do believe this country and the people that founded it so that the common man could be involved in our government and do a very good job. My name is Kevin Swift. I'm 61. My family and I moved to Gold Beach in August of 1997 from Dana Point, where I grew up as a little surfer, Catholic school kid. I've been an educator, athletic director, coach of Gold Beach High School the entire time I've been at Gold Beach, which is quite an accomplishment there. Football coaches in small towns don't last. I'm just now completing my 35th year in education, my 24th year in education at Gold Beach High School. I am a second generation educator, and my oldest daughter will be third generation educator. I'm a social studies teacher now, but I started my career as a special ed teacher a long time ago. As a social studies teacher, I'm responsible for teaching U.S. government and civics to students in very difficult times. But I've often instructed them the importance of citizens being actively involved and participating in local government or special districts. So this is my chance to be an example of that. I think if you ask Sarah, she'd tell you I said that way back when she was in the government class, and she is an excellent student. This is a chance for me to be an example to my students by getting involved with the Curry Health Network. My youngest daughter, Riley, was born at Curry General, and I've had several minor procedures in our hospital. And while it's a long ways from perfect, I've had nothing but great and outstanding experiences there. Okay. The outstanding Curry General and by the practicing medical professionals in our community. I'm running to keep it that way. Can it get better? Of course it can get better. But I want to see the positives, not just the negatives. I have no real agenda for running other than to ensure that we get the greatest care we can expect from our health. One thing I would like to explore is working with other special districts or boards to come up with a solution for affordable housing and more even economic growth in terms of demographics. Over the last 25 years, I've seen our community shift from natural resource middle-class jobs to a largely retirement community. While there's nothing wrong with this trend, these retirees will still demand services and products provided by people still working and hustling to make a living in an area with a high cost of living price tag and little or no affordable housing.
Thank you, Kevin. Your time is up.
Bummer.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go to the questions that have been submitted for your answers. And again, you have 1.5 minutes, candidates, to answer. So I'm going to start off probably with you, Daryl Hawthorne, and I'm going to go across the screen as I see the candidates. So no use hiding. So the first question is, what is your opinion about the resolution transferring local public health authority to the, and it says here regional health authority, but I'm sure they mean the Oregon Health Authority, OHA. So, so we'll start with you, Daryl, and if you want to hear the question again as we go along, I can repeat it. But what is your opinion on the transfer of public health from the county to the OHA?
Yeah, we have struggled somewhat to find good mental health. It's hard to get patients in. It's hard to get patients seen. When they are seen, they do a great job, but there's 2 to 3 month backlog where we end up trying to keep the patient stable while they're awaiting that treatment. I'm hopeful because the decision, of course, was not mine, but I'm hopeful that with the change, we'll bring additional resources to us. And my hope is that we will be able to get our patients treated faster, that we will have good communication, and that there will not be the lag in care. These patients that need this service are so vulnerable in that moment. They are critical, and they can't wait multiple months. And I would love to see that be faster, and that's what I'm hopeful for.
Okay, thank you, Daryl. Sarah, you are next on my screen. Sarah?
Hi, Georgia. I didn't hear your question.
Oh, okay. The question is, what is your opinion about the resolution that the county passed to transfer the local public health authority from the county to the Oregon Health Authority?
I think that it was a very difficult decision on all sides, what route to take. But we, as Daryl mentioned, our mental health resources are very taxed locally, and if this is an opportunity to get faster service, to get these people the help they need quicker, then I would be supportive for it. But it's hard to answer that question when I don't know all the pieces to the puzzle. I don't want to give a one-sided opinion on it without knowing what all was our public health department facing locally. What were their challenges? I don't know that in detail. And what is Oregon Health Authority going to bring? What does that look like? who are the players? So there's so many questions on that. So I can't, I'm not avoiding the question, but I don't have a great way to respond without having a little bit more information to make a judgment on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Joel Hensley, why don't you go ahead and answer that question? Would you like to hear it again, or are you okay?
I believe I understand the question, and I'll agree with my opponent on a lot of it. There's a lot of pieces here that I'm not aware of. I don't know if there were certain parameters of public health itself that weren't being met by the state standard. I don't know that information. I don't know if it was solely a financial decision on the county. I don't know if there was some benefit from the state for the state to take this back over. I agree that I don't know what all the challenges were here at the local level. I know that there was some staffing, and also in the middle of the pandemic, the county ended up taking back over public health. So that in itself had to be an extremely hard thing to overcome. So I also don't know if mental health will go with public health back to the state as well, because working at the jail, we have really struggled with mental health services, keeping a constant provider. That is something that is definitely needs to be increased. We did have a great medical program running through the public health to offer services to women's health and family health. But those services went away right about the time of COVID as well. So I wish I had more information, be able to tell you a definite, yes, I support, or no, I don't support. But I do like control being local. That's why I'm running for a local board.
Okay, thank you, Joel. All right, John Connor, I see you next.
I'm pretty much with the preceding two speakers, except in that I don't want to make a fool of myself and shoot my mouth off about things I really don't know much about and would know more about as a board member. I would say from the rest of my observations of the way the state runs things, I wouldn't hold much optimism about increasing our funding, our capabilities by turning something over to the state. That's all I have to say. And I hope the new board can have a closer, more detailed look at this.
Okay, thank you, John. Bill, answer that question?
Sure. I don't really think I can add an awful lot more. We don't know what the state has to offer in this program. I know there were serious challenges with the way we were handling it before. It's just hard to get mental health talent here. I mean, it's pretty much everywhere, but rural areas are even worse. So I think I need to know a lot more about this before we know whether the state will be better or worse than local. So that's right now, it's like I'm in the information gathering mode.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, that's the question on the transfer.
This I do have a little bit of knowledge on from government teaching. From my understanding, it was kind of a rush decision. I'm not in favor of it. I don't think it was well thought out. And we can have all the rhetoric we want in the world. That's a decision made by the county commissioners. So, we can grandstand and say we all want. I think one of the things it came down to was some services that the state didn't feel that were being provided. The pandemic and hitting at the right time. And again, one of the things I was talking about, it's difficult to staff positions in the county or elsewhere with the price of housing and wages. They're all intertwined together. We all desire local control. We all desire local workers. We all desire a healthy community. Well, that's all tied together. My understanding was it was rather rushed. I'm not in favor of it because you have to continue to provide services till the state decides to pick it up. So saying, hey, we're giving it to the state doesn't mean they show up tomorrow and pick it up. They're going to pick it up at their convenience. And in the meantime, we got to salvage it. So, personally, I'm in favor of local control. It's easier to solve problems in Gold Beach and Curry County than expect Salem to do it.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, Martin.
Okay, my kick at the cat. What happens is, I think it's strictly a financing decision from the county. What happens is that mental health and not done very well at all. Nobody seems to have the money for it. A resolution by the county basically is trying to kick the funding issue back to the state. And what happens, the state has to accept it. The problem is how it affects Curry Health. Curry Health needs mental health professionals to help it in guidelines for its emergency rooms, because otherwise a lot of those patients are going to end up clogging the emergency rooms. It is something that needs to be funded, but we just can't unilaterally say, hey, the state is going to pick it up. That's maybe what the commissioners want, but OHA doesn't have to pick up the baton. It's a matter of financing. And yes, we do need the health professionals, but it's just not only mental health professionals. The county public health has not been funded for a number of years. Nobody wants to pay for it.
Thank you, Martin. Okay, so a tie-in to the question as a follow-up to that question is, how would this affect Curry Health District in this decision of giving back the Public Health Authority to the state? So Martin, I'm going to start with you now.
Okay, somebody has to be willing to pick up the burden. Let's put it this way. When COVID happened, public health did not have the resources in Curry County to do the vaccination. So Curry Health Network had to pick that up. Yes, we picked it up at a loss, but you have to do certain things for the county, even if you're not making money. You have to represent the individuals. As I said just previously, the mental health capacity, what happens is if we were to take that on as a Curry Health District, we would probably need to hire about 6 professionals, and it would be an unfunded mandate. We would be ending up hurting a lot of our other resources, trying to fund something that we're not quite capable of doing, and we don't have the staff to do it. So in a net, what happens is at either an OHA or a Curry Health Public Department, Curry Health Network, the hospital system, will have to end up picking up some of the pieces in order for the system to work. And yes, it may be a loss leader for the hospital district, but we will have to have something in place. We just can't drop it.
Great, thank you. Kevin.
Yeah, it goes, I'm going to kind of piggyback on what was said. The state has to be willing to pick it up. And it is finance. And for us to assume the state has any more money than we do, I think is foolish. I also agree mental health is a huge issue. I would say, no, we don't need 6. We need closer to 10 to 12. Well, we're a rural county, and we have a small population that needs this small population in the face of COVID, in the face of some economic situations on the coast, is skyrocketing. As a teacher, we've seen mental health amongst teenagers skyrocket with issues. Not to mention college students and probably a few teachers are struggling with it. It's a change. It's challenging. And to assume the state's going to pick it up, again, I want local solutions. I would agree with Martin said, a hospital may have to pick some of that up. But we're here to service people. I mean, while the bottom dollar is important, it can't be more important than people. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bill. Unmute yourself, Bill.
Fine. Okay. Yeah, I think there's a role for the hospital in this. I think the size of the role is a question mark. I think we need to find out what happens with what OHA can give us in terms of actually, hopefully talent would be better, because that kind of talent is going to be hard to get here. And I think what we really need to do going forward is, since this is our only path, is to forge a partnership with OHA, see how we can work together with them to get this hole filled.
Okay, thank you. John Connor.
In the interest of sensible use of time, I won't say much, but it certainly is clear that the state is an unknown quantity in being any help to improve our situation in Curry County. That being said, the new board is going to have to bargain with the state to find out and pressure them as much as our little puny muscles can to the state to help us out on this. What the final relationship is between the state and the county has got to be hammered out by us. And I hope in a way that'll benefit us, not just turn something over to the state that the state won't support anyway. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Joel?
Thank you. I think the one thing to remember too about public health is that it covers so much more than just the services we've been talking about. It covers WIC, support for women, infants, and children, restaurant inspections, environmental services. It also does coordinating with local providers for the mental health services and for the women's care services. The district would, I believe we would have to take a role in getting with the state to figure out what the basic and critical needs are to make sure that nothing does fall through with like vaccines. I know that is a huge concern of people, to make sure that that flow is continued. We've had a pretty good consistent flow here with vaccines, been able to help out there at the jail with that. But I do think a lot of it comes down to what is the state actually going to do, like others have said, versus what is being done right now. Is it for them just to come in to support and provide support, or is it where they would actually dictate what happens from Salem? That is unknown until we speak to somebody from Salem.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you. This is going to be one of the huge pressing matters on the board currently. So mental health and the crisis response through the emergency department has always been a challenge for Curry Health District. It's something that is a gray area for law enforcement, for ER providers, and for nursing staff. How do we triage? How do we assess these patients? Emergency room providers and are not equipped to handle this on their own. So the board is going to have to really understand exactly what does this mean to have OHA take over, and then step up, educate staff. What is our process for handling these patients as they come in? What is our crisis response? And so Curry Community Health would find placement for patients, put them on a hold. So what does that look like now? So there's so many pieces to this that need to be figured out, and it has to be addressed immediately. And the staff need to know exactly what is expected of them, and it needs to be laid out clearly. And we can't know that until we have all the pieces to this puzzle.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Daryl?
I agree. I mean, the decision has already been made. This is happening. We don't know what it's going to look like yet. It's important for us to be able to assess it and find out exactly what this is going to look like. Beyond that, we need to work together as a group. It was mentioned before that that there could have competing healthcare organizations in town. That's the wrong kind of thinking. We don't compete in this. We have to work together. We have to understand what it is that when we have someone, we just don't treat them and street them, that they have a primary care in the area and they have someone who's ready to take that on and coordinate the care, because that's what we do in family practice. We coordinate their care through everybody in the community. And I think it's important to have, again, healthcare on the board, because you can't have a healthcare provider that works for Curry Health Network. It's a conflict, right? They're not even allowed to run for the board. So we can't think of ourselves as competitors, because we're not. And so we need to be able to have that coordinated effort, especially when we don't know what kind of support we're going to be getting from Salem, right? And so I think that's the most important thing, is the communication has to be better. Providers have to be willing to pick these patients up, and they have to be able to meet them wherever it is that they can. If they're homeless, we have to be able to try to find secured housing for them with the homeless coalition in town. We just need better communication within Gold Beach.
Okay, thank you. All right, now with the next question, I'm going to start with you, John Connors. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the question. In your opinion, what does Curry Health Network do well, and what do you believe needs to improve for the organization to succeed?
Well, the times I've been there are a lot to see my primary care physician, who is excellent. I've had x-rays there due to an automobile accident in '98. It was '98, yeah.
2002.
Oh, 2008. I got a terrible bump on the head. No. I was treated in the emergency room. Then in 18, things seem to be running very well. I hear things have changed there, but I got very good service there. Other minor, semi-minor surgeries, 2 since then, were handled by visiting MDs who were excellent, I thought. I don't think we can exist entirely on visiting MDs and other visiting staff. They sometimes don't pay out too well. As to what to change, I'd rather work with the board if the opportunity presents itself to try to figure these things out. I have been able to function very well in groups of one kind or another in making decisions. And I would rather hold off this overly long answer until I see if there's an opportunity to do something.
Yes, I'm going to stop you there, John, because your
Good.
time is up. All right, Bill Devens, same question.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The question is, in your opinion, what does Curry Health Network do well, and what do you believe needs to improve for the organization to succeed?
Okay, we have some excellent providers there. They're delivering incredible service despite the management. We have a general surgeon who I would put up against anybody in the world. She runs an incredibly good operation in the operating room. I can run down through, when you go in for an imaging, the people that do x-rays and CTs and all that, they're awesome. Now, whether or not you get the results, you have 50-50 chance of that, but that's not their fault. So the people that are providing the service are doing an excellent job. What do we need to change? From my understanding of all of my interviews, it ain't a great place to work. We need to make that environment much better. It's called corporate culture. It can be made way, way better. We have broken processes. Back to what Sarah mentioned about losing orders going in and results not getting back. That's business process. That's basic blocking and tackling in a business. That needs to get worked on. I'm not sure we're organized properly as far as delivering services to customers most efficiently in a way that people feel like they're being taken care of as employees. So I think we have great people there. I think I wouldn't change, as far as the people that deliver the services, I wouldn't change a thing. How they're managed, how they deliver the services, making sure that they have all the tools they need to do that, both management tools and real solid tools like databases. I think that's important.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, same question.
Yeah, you know, I was privileged. My wife worked at a really good hospital in Southern California when we got together. And I think it's important to remember, you can find dirt, mistakes, and disasters at every hospital. You know, they're called hospitals. You know, 90% of them are teetering financially. They all have horror stories. I really don't want to talk bad about the hospital to make myself look good as a candidate. I've had great experiences there. Are they perfect? No, but I don't think there's a hospital in the country that's perfect. Are there providers, doctors, people, good people doing the best they can? Yeah. Do I know what's wrong? No. I mean, I work 12-hour days and I'm relatively healthy, thank you. So I don't spend a lot of time there. I know that I've never had problems getting results. I've never had problems getting reports. That doesn't mean that they don't exist. I'm going to go into this the same way I came up to be a football coach. I'm going to come up with an open mind, evaluate the situation, try to come up with some common sense solutions, and work as a team. I'm certainly not going to be arrogant and think I have all the answers now, or to talk down about a hospital that I happen to enjoy the services from. So.
Thank you, Kevin. Martin, same question.
Okay, what do we do well? We have some very great people, service providers in the hospital. They should be commended for their work. They do really well. We know that there's a lot of things to improve. Sarah Dickerson brought up technology. What happens is our emergency record systems, our health record systems, they have to be improved. We have a decades-old system in the hospital. It would probably take 2 or 3 years to put in a new technology system. It's also going to cost money, but you have to spend money to make things work. So technology is one. The other thing we could improve is community involvement. For example, right now we're going through a community needs assessment. That's done every 3 years. What happens is we need citizen input into those sorts of decisions. We also need the hospital management and the board to get out it more in the public and make the health network better known. The last thing that we can improve in is recruitment. What happens is that Kevin was basically saying housing is a problem. It is a problem for recruitment. Everybody wants to be here. But we also have a problem with recruitment with spousal opportunities. You can get a very good educated person here, but their spouse also has to work. And so those are the sorts of things I look at: technology, community involvement, recruitment. And the last one is, what service lines do we need to expand so that we can better treat the people of the county? And if that means getting a hip and knee surgery going, we've got to do it. I mean, that's our clientele. It's a retired clientele. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Daryl, so what does CHN do well and what does it need improvement on?
I think it does a lot of things well. I know that I work for North Bend Medical Center and we have services up in Coos Bay, but I almost never send anybody up there because it's too long of a drive. If the services are here, this is where they're going to be seen. And we have fantastic general surgeon. We have a fantastic podiatrist. When Dr. Geary was here, we would use him. We sorely need a cardiologist. And so I think that it does a lot of really good things. Now, actually, the list that Martin just gave is fantastic. One of the top on the list, I thought, is going to be trying to help the community have faith in the Curry Health Network, right? I mean, there's been, when I first got here, patients really kind of talk down about it. It is getting better and the patients are having better experiences. But we need to show the community that we mean to give them good care. We mean to be able to show them that when they go to our ER, they're going to be treated well and they're going to be treated with respect. And that we're going to also treat to the top of our capabilities, and we're not just going to send people out. I think that there is opportunities in that way, but Curry Health Network has been doing a fantastic job for my patients, and I don't hesitate to send there.
Thank you. Sarah, the same question, and I'm going to ask other candidates who are not speaking to go ahead and mute yourself, please.
Hi. So Curry Health Network does a lot of things right. They absolutely do. Back when I was going to high school here, we had family practice doctors running both the emergency department, seeing patients in the clinic, running over to the ER, going back and admitting patients on the medical floor. Now you have highly skilled emergency room, board certified physicians for the most part in the emergency departments. You have a hospitalist who's on 24/7, who is taking in patients. And that is incredible from where we were and where we've come from. That really is superior. We have an amazing team there. We have a general surgeon that's fantastic. And then the staff are just really upstanding and they want to do a great job. They really do. Where they lack is this electronic medical record, and it has to change. It's archaic to say the least. It's a DOS type system, and it doesn't help with productivity for the providers, and it's very, very difficult to work with. The other thing that we have to work on is financials. So prior to the first COVID patient in the United States, this hospital was not doing well financially. They took the hit with COVID and they were going down fast. Actually, having COVID happen was a good thing for them because they got millions upon millions of dollars of funding. So how do we prevent what happened prior to COVID from happening again when these funds run out? That's going to be a huge thing that we have to focus on. And I
Your time is
know,
up, Sarah.
okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you. All right, Joel, same question.
Thank you. I think what Curry Health Network has done really well is they're doing their best to overcome the identity crisis that they used to have. Back before the new hospital was brought in, people used to question care. Now, a lot of people want to come here for care because we have been able to attract some quality, we've got a quality surgeon. I know my wife's doctor is very, very competent and very passionate about what she does. We've had quality care from everything from imaging through ER. I know through my experience dealing with adults in custody and other traumatic incidents, this ER is bar none. It should be the gold standard if it isn't for rural healthcare. Sometimes I've noticed that in organizations there can be communication errors, which is just a perception issue between what they call management land and then the worker bee. Sometimes this can be overcome by just simply opening up communication lines, but that's something that we can discover later. I find going into these situations, it's always best to be objective and know that the outcome is for a better Curry Health Network.
Okay, thank you. And I believe I started with you, John, is that correct? So you've already answered that question?
Yes.
Okay, good. Every once in a while I lose track. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and start with you again, Joel. And this is the next question for everyone. Do you have family or someone you are in a relationship with working for Curry Health Network District? I'm sorry, Curry Health District, Curry General Hospital, or Curry Health Network?
No, I do not.
Okay, John.
No, I do not.
All right. Bill,
Did that come through?
yes, it did.
No, I'm not. Did that answer come through?
Oh, yours did, John. I'm waiting for Bill.
Okay.
And Bill's on mute.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. We do have a household member who works as a frontline worker there, about 5 layers away from the CEO. I don't see that as a big conflict. If one board member can, in any way, shape, or form, determine anything to do with a frontline employee, then we have a seriously broken relationship between the board and the management team. So it's in a small town, you have lots of talent. Some of it lives under the same roof. And as they do with the hospital, with what I would see as a lot of nepotism, you deal with it. And the hospital has dealt with it well. And so, you know, if it was a CEO that we were associated with, I'd say that's a big problem. If I was working for somebody who's associated with CEO, I'd say that's a big problem. But, you know, I don't see that as a problem at all.
Okay, thank you. Kevin,
No, I have nobody working in the health industry in any way, shape, or form. We're more on the patient side.
all right, Martin,
No conflicts of interest whatsoever.
okay, the question was, do you have any relative working for Curry Health District, Curry General Hospital, or Curry Health Network?
No,
Okay, thank you. Daryl,
No, I do not have any family member working for the hospital. I do want to talk about that I do work with Dr. Reg Williams, and he is married to the CEO. Dr. Williams is my supervising physician. I think it's clear, or it's important to kind of clear up what that relationship entails. He is not my employer. I am employed by North Bend Medical Center. And he is, as a supervisor physician, he is a resource to me when I have questions in regards to medical care. But I am my own person and I make my own decisions. And so in no way does he hold any sort of sway over me when it comes to decisions that I would make as a board member.
okay, thank you. Sarah,
So yes, I do. So Curry Health Network is one of the biggest employers of healthcare professionals in Curry County. So my husband is works for Curry Health Network. He is not in a management position. He is not the CEO. And I really see how that me being in this position would have no impact on his performance or my ability to manipulate his position through the organization.
okay, thank you. All right, I think this is going to be the final question for everybody, and I'm going to start with you, Kevin. And the question is, what steps do you believe need to be taken to assure the financial viability of Curry Health Network?
Like I said, I need to go in and see what it looks like. I mean, I've heard what people say, I've heard what people think, but I have yet to see the books, look at the numbers, and look at that. I think one of the things that I think we have to remember, going back to the idea of the county giving health services back, they're giving health services back for the county, yet the district doesn't encompass all of the county. And there's a financial impact there that needs to be looked at. As far as, you know, I don't have any grandiose ideas. I mean, I agree you need to upgrade technology and do that because that'll streamline and help some of the waste in finance. But, you know, I'm running to go and serve and find out. You know, I said earlier, I don't have an agenda. I haven't seen their books. I haven't done, you know, my, you know, one of the reasons I chose to run is because I stepped down as athletic director. I have time. My life has been, you know, teaching social studies and working high school athletics till sometimes 10, 10:30 at night. So I appreciate all the research you guys has done. I'm going in with the intent of doing my research there and finding out. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bill, same question. Ah, you're still on mute.
So I'll learn this. So yeah, so I think if we look at the hospital, we have sort of fixed costs. What we need to do is bring in more business. For example, what I mentioned earlier, if we could have all of the services, that is imaging, that is referrals coming from all the outsiders providing here, that could bring a lot of money to the bottom line. If we made our providers more efficient, right now we're not that high as the number of people that they see a day. That's not their fault. It's technology, it's training, it's learning how to work with the system. If we can make them more efficient, we get better coverage for our patients and we make more money. There's a lot of places where, just like that, where you can make more money and provide better services. So I think if we work on business development, if we work on making our providers more efficient, those sorts of things can just drop money straight to the bottom line.
Thank you. John, same question.
I think I'm unmuted. Is that correct?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Yeah, some of us have admitted right up front that's a real question for people who aren't on the board right now, and tough. But I have done a lot of looking into what sections have paid off and what sections have performed badly or not up to what was expected. Some of the diagnostic business, like MRI, scanners, and so forth, aren't realizing much income, or as much as was hoped for. The board should get busy on this to see what's at fault to create the situation. Also, I would be in favor of more detailed, hard-nosed analysis of spending plans and their hoped for realization of the spending and what has actually come of it, with given a shorter time scale of the putting out money and evaluating what it's done. It's probably way too long, a year or 18 months. We should try to implement some kind of board review of how the grandiose plans at the beginning are really paying out. Thank you,
John. Okay. Joel, same question.
Thank you. Can you repeat the question real quick, Georgia? I just want to make sure I'm hitting it right.
Sure. The question is, what steps do you believe need to be taken to assure the financial viability of the Curry Health Network?
Okay, thank you. I'm going to fall back on my experience as jail commander working with the county with no money, that we do a lot of attempts of strategic planning of where we want to see ourselves in 5 years, what steps we're taking now to get to those steps and how that looks. So with the needs assessment that's been out, I took that survey myself. If we can take that input and align it to what people are expecting the network to provide, I think that would bring more people in. It would help with that identity crisis that I said, that they would believe that Curry Health Network is really truly looking out for their needs and wanting to propel us into the higher level of cares. Part of being a manager, and I believe part of my role as a board member would be to be able to listen, find where some inefficiencies could be, some repeated steps, some redundancy maybe, or it want to empower people with the ability to feel like they can be a leader within their own division. Sometimes that seems to promote more of a positive outlook, which could then cause them to pay dividends in what they're providing to the customer, which then again would return customers back to us hopefully praising what we've done.
Okay, thank you. Sarah?
As I mentioned before, we have to update that electronic medical record for multiple reasons, but increasing volumes through the clinic is going to be part of that. But a massive part of the revenue for this organization is outpatient radiology, imaging, and lab work. So I have spoken to providers in Brookings who are outside the network, and they do utilize Sutter Coast because of the ease of doing that. So what Curry Health Network needs to do is reach out to these providers, fix whatever went wrong before. How do we make it better and grab that business back? Because it's potentially millions of dollars a year going to Sutter Coast Hospital when we need it locally. The other thing we need to do is make good contracts. So we had hired an interventional radiologist before COVID happened, who was hired on salary before she was credentialed. What that means is you can't bill for her services until she is contracted through each individual payer. So for months, she was on payroll at a very high salary without her being able to bring any revenue in. As a business, that's not what you do. The other thing that you need to do is look at your contract. So we brought in, my understanding is we're bringing on an orthopedic surgeon. What is he going to provide? What services is he going to provide for Curry Health Network? And what is our market analysis on that? And can the board provide that?
Thank you, Sarah. All right, Daryl.
Yeah, I think that the very first thing is electronic health records, of course. We keep hearing about that, but we have to make, as providers, we have to be able to reduce the amount of time in front of the computer and increase the amount of time in front of patients. And that's going to be very important in receiving the right reimbursements. We also need to look and see what the hospital is currently putting for their charges. And we need to look and see what the insurance companies are reimbursing. And if they're reimbursing at 100%, we need to increase our charges. There are a few things that we can do to actually increase revenue that way. The other thing is we have to understand where medicine is going. Medicine is not going to be fee for service anymore, okay? So we have to be able to adjust, and we have to be able to fix any issues with the current system so that when it does leave the fee for service, that we are ready. And we're only going to be able to do that is if we have complete community involvement. And so I think that all of those things are going to help us increase the revenue. There's always areas that we can look for waste and redundancy and things of that nature. But being nimble and not moving too quickly is going to be important too. As it's been said, we need to make sure that anything we add is going to be financially viable and it's going to pay us dividends. But again, we just need to know where medicine's going and we need to be ready for it.
Thank you. All right, Martin.
Okay, financials. What happens is over the last couple of months that I've been on the board, we have really progressed on the financials. One of the things we're asking is an 18 months rolling financial forecast. They never used to forecast their revenues. Any business that I've been in, it always does that. What happens is they've usually stuck with a budget and they've had to adjust the budget in many ways. We have to take a look at new service lines, but we have to take a look at them and what will it cost? What will it actually produce in revenues? And some of them aren't going to make money, but if the county residents need that service, we have to invest. We have to invest in technology. We have to invest in records keeping systems, but we also have to take a look at it from a return on investment perspective and make things work with the money we have. The taxpayers aren't going to bail us out. The taxpayers only provide 3% of the revenues. And if somebody says, well, they don't know the financials are on the website. All the financial meetings are on the website. It's public information. We are a public entity as a special district. That's me for that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all. So this completes tonight's Zoom candidate forum, and the league thanks you all, the candidates, for participating. As mentioned earlier, the candidate forum recordings will be available on lwvcurry.org shortly after this. So I want to say thank you all again, and we say good night. And time to take the recording off.